Good afternoon. This is RCB News, and I am Ryan Bowling. I want to talk about something that's really been on my mind, and that is the idea of finding your purpose in life. Finding your purpose in life. And why am I dealing with this topic on this news special? Because what I have discovered is throughout my life, and particularly where I work at right now, I see so many people frustrated, angry, aggravated, walking around with a chip on their shoulder, having no sense of direction and purpose in their lives. They have no goals. They have no motivation. They sit on the benches across the street from Tower City. There's a place called, there's a little area called Public Square. And these people, day after day, night after night, they go over there and they sit on the benches and they talk about nothing. They get into fights. They get into arguments. They have no sense of purpose. They have no sense of direction. And when I'm standing outside with my partner, being a security officer, we standing outside and observing everything. I see people walk back and forth. They come outside, after the job, they do a little smoking, and then they go back inside. But I can see in their eyes, there's this sense of frustration and anger. There's this sense of disappointment. And I think large in part that a part of that is fostered by our political environment. There is so much negativity in our political environment. Some people are angry and frustrated because they feel let down by the Biden administration. They voted for certain things that they're not getting. They're angry, they're frustrated, they're mad, they're disappointed. And then those on the conservative side are frustrated and mad and disappointed and feel like, woe is me, it's the end of the world. But I'm here to let you know in this video that regardless of whether or not you voted for Biden and you feel disappointed, or for those on the conservative side that feel like it's the end of the world because their policies are going to destroy everything, I'm doing this video to let you know that will not happen. And that will not happen based large in part on what you yourself believe about yourself. First, you got to understand something that is very important. You got to understand first and foremost about what it is that you do naturally well. You got to find your own gifting and talents. You got to find your own gifting and talents and capitalize off of that. What is it? You got to ask yourself a question. What is it that I do well? What is it that I do well to the point where I do it so well and I love to do it so much that I don't mind not getting paid for it? There are so many people who don't know what their gifts and talents are. Now, a talent is a natural ability that a person has they're born with it. A talent is something that you're born with, that you do well, whether it is singing, whether it is speaking, whether it is a sports affiliated, whatever the case may be, a talent is something that you are born with and you do it well. So many people are walking around not knowing what their talents and giftings are. And as a result, they have no purpose in life. See, it doesn't matter who is the president. It doesn't matter who the mayor is. It doesn't matter who the governor is. If you know your purpose, which is connected to your gifting, then it will not matter. Find out what it is that you do well and capitalize off of that. Build that up. So if you got to find out, so here's the first point. Discover what your giftings or talents are. So many people don't know what their gifts are. So many people don't know what their talents are. So they go throughout life. Some people just they get up, they go to work, they give their 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, whatever many hours they get, and then they get off work, they go home. If they have a family, they deal with their family, they spend time with the husband or the wife or the children, whatever. And they get up the next day. And many of these people, even though they're doing things that they know they should have the responsibility to do, they still feel a sense of emptiness on the inside. And I believe that that sense of emptiness is directly tied to their lack of understanding their purpose in life. Every person has a purpose. If you look at all these celebrities, see, here's the thing that is interesting to me. And I've done it too. But see, now I know my purpose. God has revealed to me my purpose. But I've noticed this, that people in general look to celebrities and all these people with these different gifts, these singers and celebrities and sports figures, and they ooh and they ah and they wow. Man, look at LeBron James. Wow. Look at this singer. Look at that singer. Wow, look at this rapper. Wow, look at, they're wowing and oohing on over these celebrities and these mainstream figures. And they do this throughout their life, never once discovering what their special talents and giftings are. So they go throughout life having no purpose. They leave this world having no purpose. God placed each and every one of us here on earth for a purpose. Every last one of us here has at least one natural talent. Find out what your natural talent is. Singing, whatever the case may be. Find out what that is. Then once you find out what your natural talent is, then you have to capitalize off of those talents. Capitalize off of them. If it's singing, if it's dexterity, or if it's sports, or whatever the case may be. Once you find out what it is, capitalize off of it, build off of it, develop it. That's how these celebrities became famous. How do you think these singers and these rappers and all these celebrities got as good as they are? They didn't get that way simply because they have natural talent. Natural talent and natural ability has to be developed. You may have a natural ability to sing, but it has to be developed. You may have a natural ability in sports, but you have to develop that. LeBron James had to develop his skills of sports. He had to develop those natural talents, rather. He had to develop his jumping and hand-to-hand, hand-to-eye coordination. He had to develop that through many, many hours of endless practice. The same situation with each and every one of us. Once you find out what your gifts are, once you find out what your natural talents are, you have to capitalize off that. You have to build that up. In order to find your purpose and your niche in life, you have to discover your natural talents and abilities. Then you have to capitalize off that. You have to build them up. You have to develop them. It don't come overnight. These celebrities don't become rich and famous overnight. That's not true. They took years to develop their acting, and years to develop their ability to rap, and years to develop their ability to sing. So it's the same scenario with each and every one of us. In order for us to find our purpose in life, we have to discover what our talents and natural abilities are, and then we have to capitalize off of that. Okay? We have to capitalize off of that. And finally, I want to say this. Do not let this negative environment suppress your natural talents. I kind of said that earlier in this video, but what I'm seeing is people that I can sense on my job that they have natural abilities and natural talents to do certain things, but they're allowing the environment, the negativity of this environment, to suppress and hold down their natural abilities. Don't do that. That natural ability and that natural talent is in you for a reason. That's one of the reasons why I'm against abortion. It's not just because I think it's murder. It's not just that. It's not just the moral aspects of it. It's because we don't know who we're aborting. How do you know that the person that's going to be born in this world that you want to abort because of some inconvenience, the child's going to be a inconvenience to you? How do you know that that child's not going to grow up to be somebody great? That's not going to grow up to be somebody, be a great politician, great singer, great whatever. Now, somebody may argue, well, how do you know they ain't going to grow up to be an evil person? Well, we don't know that. And since we don't know that, we shouldn't do it. Duh. The way I see it, we don't know. Let fate determine that. Or better yet, in my opinion, let God determine that. But I'm not going to do it because we don't know what talents and abilities that person have that could better the environment and better the life we live. Share a story with you. Some years ago, I was reading a book. Well, actually, I wasn't reading a book. Some years ago, I was watching a documentary, a jazz documentary. And there was a particular jazz singer, I can't remember her name. She became quite popular back in the 30s and the 40s, I believe. She became quite popular. And this is when jazz was pop music. You know, you could dance to it. People was dancing to jazz back then because it had become pop music. It was a thing. It was a music. And she had become quite popular. But she didn't know who her father was. So eventually, from what I can remember in this documentary, she discovered who her father was and came to find out that her father had raped her mother and impregnated her with her. She was basically the byproduct or the product of a rape. Now, somebody may look at that who endorses abortion and say, oh man, she should have been aborted. Not really. Had her mother aborted her, this world would have been denied the talent of this jazz singer. But the jazz singer was distraught about it, but she went on about her life. She didn't cut her wrists or destroy herself. So, oh my God, I'm the product of a rape. I might as well kill myself. She didn't do that. She took the talent that God gave her and capitalized off of it. And that's one of the reasons why I'm against that. But that, of course, is going to merge into politics because this is news and politics. I deal with news and I deal with politics. So, but at whatever length, at any rate, don't let the negativity of this environment suppress your gifting. I don't care what they're doing in the White House. I don't care what they're doing on the local level. I don't care what they're doing on the state level. Find out what it is that you do well and keep doing it. Develop it. Make it better. Be the best you that you can be. I know what my gifting and talents is. My natural giftings is writing. My spiritual talent, my spiritual gifting is teaching. My natural talent is writing. Now, someone said something about reading as a natural talent. I don't believe reading is a talent. I believe reading is a discipline. And the reason why I believe reading is a discipline and not a talent is because back in the olden days, in the 16th, 17th, and 18th century, and a portion of the 19th, beginning of the 19th century, that's all they did was read. They didn't have all this technology that we have today that take our minds off of reading. That's all they did was read. And it wasn't a gift, it was a discipline. They just disciplined themselves to read. I'm thoroughly convinced that most people, for the most part, don't like reading because it takes concentration. It takes meditating and concentrating and thinking about what's being said, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. It takes sitting down and just sitting and just concentrating and being, and silencing your mind and silencing your heart and just reading. People don't like to do that. Everybody just active. I got to get on the phone. I got to get on it. And I'm guilty. I've done it too. But every now and then I discipline myself to sit down and just read. But it's not a natural talent. It is not a gift. It's a discipline. Part of the way in which you develop your natural talents is by reading. You say, how? Because what that does, when you read books that are conducive to the particular natural talent that you have, you're entailing more information to show you how to develop your natural talent and gifting, thus finding your purpose in life. So I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to give a word of encouragement in this negative environment that we live in, where everybody meanders all around, feeling like with no sense of purpose, walking around with a chip on their shoulder. Black people mad at white people scared of black people because black people mad at them, and this Asians upset over this and this over that, and mandating this, and they want to mandate that, and people don't want to give into the mandate, and they're tired of giving into the mandate, and so now they're going to protest, and all this negative stuff can overwhelm you to the point whatever gifts and talents that you have, you'll forget you have them. But I'm here to let you know, don't let this negative environment suppress your gifts and talents, whatever they are. Pursue them. Pursue what God has placed in you. Pursue what you were born with. Pursue it with all your heart and all your might and all your love and all your strength. Pursue it, and I guarantee you, you will come out successful. Look, as a writer, I'm going to sum this up this way. As a fiction writer, I've written dozens of short stories and 3 or 4 books. I'm working on the 4th one right now. 3 or 4 novellas. I've written all these type of things. But prior to that, All I knew is years ago, all I knew was that I wanted to write. I wanted to write fiction. When I was a teenager, I had a friend of mine give me a whole bunch of Stephen King books. And the first book that I read was Carrie, which is actually his first novel. Blew me away. I never knew that someone could use words to make me feel the way I was feeling when I read that book. It blew me away. And I said to myself, I want to do this. And I started writing. And I wrote a little short story, kind of the same way that Stephen King was. And I didn't know what I was doing. I took some notebook paper, started writing down some stuff, showed it to my art teacher. And my art teacher, her name was Mrs. Schmidt. And she didn't flatter. She was mean. I mean, even her name was sound mean, Mrs. Schmidt. You know, she scared me. She never smiled. She never flattered. I showed her, but she was an art teacher. So I showed her the short story I wrote on notebook paper. She came back to me the next day and said, "Oh my God, it just blew me away. I was overwhelmed. It was so suspenseful." And from that point on, I was like, wow, you know, and then from that point on, I just started writing. I just had first it started off with a desire. And then first it started off with a desire and then a belief. I had a desire, which led to the belief, which led to action. First, you got to have a desire for it. Then you got to believe you can do it. And then after you believe you can do it, you start doing it, you see it coming to fruition. So that's what ended up happening. And I knew from that point on, I had a natural ability to write and to write fiction. See, because I don't believe that's something that can necessarily be taught. I believe that's a natural talent, a gifting. But I had to discover that. And the same thing I'm trying to say to everyone, all you guys that are watching this, find out what your natural talents and giftings are. Capitalize off them and do not let this negative environment suppress what's been placed in you. So I hope you all have enjoyed this special video I wanted to give. If you got any comments, put your comments in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, share this video, and subscribe. God bless you all and see you again on RCB News.